Hello, this is JIGHEAD TV speaking, and today we are going to talk about rock fishing a little bit. And the main questions that were asked, it's about gear, it's about lures, it's about how to fish and not to get stuck in the stones. So we're gonna cover most of it. And basically, as the first thing, I want to explain about the rods I'm using for the rock fishing, specifically the light and ultralight rock fishing. Why light and ultralight? Because I can enjoy fishing most of the time. You catch fish definitely most of the time with the ultralight. I mean, if you're targeting a big species, yeah, of course this is a bit complicated. You have to look, you have to search, but when you want to just enjoy fishing, ultralight and light fishing brings you joy almost every time. So let's talk about the rod. The rod I'm using is 2.4 meters, which is 5 to 25 grams. Why I choose 5 to 25? Because sometimes I need to cast a little bit bigger jigs or bigger jig heads when there is a current or something. That's why I chose something towards 20 gram. Length is 2.4 because I don't require to cast far. Anything like 15 meters from a shore, 20 meters from a shore is more than enough for me, because most of the species that I'm targeting, they are living between the rocks, and the species are snappers, groupers, some emperors, sea breams, mostly mangrove jacks. They are living between the rocks. They come out of the rock, they take the bait, and then they hide again in the rock. So that's why the most of the play is near the shore, near the rocky area. So as I told you, the rod is 5 to 25 gram, 2.4 meters. This is more than enough. For reel, I'm using Stradic 2500. 2500, 3000 reel is also very good for rock fishing. The line I'm using for the light and ultralight, I'm using 0.8, but when it comes for a bit heavier rock fishing and I'm trying to find some bigger groupers, some bigger mangrove jacks, then I'll use the rod with 1 or 1.2 PE. And regarding the leader, for example, for light and ultralight fishing, I'm using 19 lb in Dubai area, because the rocks are not very sharp there. And in Dibba and Fujairah area, I'm using 24 lb. The rocks are more sharper here, and I noticed that you require a little bit more heavier leader. Me myself, for example, I love to use snap because I can change baits quickly. But you can tie your lure or your jig or whatever to your leader directly, which will give a little bit more interesting action and much more attraction to a fish. But for me, I'm on a side of where I want to change the lures quickly, so that's why I like to use snaps. And this is basically about the gear on rock fishing. Let's talk about the lures. When it comes to the lures, mostly in rock fishing, I use different types of jig heads with soft baits, and at the same time I'm using jigs, and sometimes I use small lures. Some of them are deep diving, some of them are just the top water lures. So let's speak about jigs. Jigs, I'm using 10, 8, 7, maximum 18 grams. Some of them I use with trebles, and some of the jigs I do use with just a single assist hook. And depends on the situation and depends on the water, because if there is too many rocks and I'm trying to play closer to the bottom, so I use one single assist hook. When I don't need to go that much deep, then I will use treble hooks. Regarding the soft baits, there is no specific soft bait, but of course according to the situation, according to the fish, I use different soft baits. Let's start from the, for example, this is the simple small, I'm using very light jig heads, starting from 1 gram up to sometimes 7 gram depending on the current. But the main important thing here is to know that your soft bait is falling down as slow as possible. You don't need fast sinking of the soft bait. It should slow as possible, and you play with the soft bait, you know, like with a simple twitching method, which makes different actions. Like for example, this one, you know, which is, if you noticed, I hooked it only on the tip of the hook, because the fish it gives more attraction to the fish. It's more flexible and start playing crazy, so you know, attracting a fish. It's a 3.5 gram jig head. For a bit, when I'm trying to find the snappers on the bottom, I'm using this kind of jig heads from Owner, which are this is a glow jig head. You can also put a glow type soft bait, which are available also, different types. This type of jig head, which is played, you know, like it's hooked from top here, and you keep playing above the rocks with it. It gives very interesting action to it. At the same time, paddle tails. This kind of paddle tails are killers for groupers and mangrove jacks. They love them a lot, and as you see, I use a jig head. This is a decoy jig head, and there is a similar type of Owner jig head, and this jig head comes with the offset hook, which hides inside the soft bait itself. It gives you more advantage between the rocks and weed. And of course you can just pinch a hook here again, so it doesn't come out easily. If the fish will bite, it will hook it anyway. And when I'm looking for a bigger fish, I'm using offset hooks with the sinker. This comes from Owner, and there is different brands for that, even from Decoy also. And with the bigger soft bait, bigger paddle tail, this one is my favorite tool of searching for bigger size fish between the rocks. When I feel like, you know, when it's a sunset time or sunrise time, and you feel that there is something bigger available in the rocks and it's playing around, it's trying to catch some fish, you start playing with this soft bait. This one is 2.5 gram. Soft bait by itself is around 4 grams, 3 grams, so total weight of this lure becomes around 5-6 grams, so which will cast decently, which not required also. You're gonna play between the rocks anyway. And there is a different shrimp type. This one is specifically, you know, like mostly attacked by sea breams, attacked by different type of emperors, long nose, short nose, or whatever, different types of them. They love this kind of lure, and sometimes even decent sized groupers, you know, when it's their season of eating crabs, they like to attack this lure. So this is basically about the setup of what kind of lures you use for rock fishing mostly. Of course, there is much more of different lures. I'm not going to speak about lures this time, you know, because most of the people using lures these days. But what I wanted to talk to you about again, additional, you know, like what is the requirement for rock fishing. Rock fishing requires some kind of mobility. So this mobility is achieved when you have minimum weight with you available, and you can walk around the breakwater, around the big breakwaters, and keep looking for a fish. So in this case, you know, this kind of bag, which is bag which attaches to your waist, and you have a belt which attaches to your shoulder, so you have a support from both sides, and it helps you to walk around in light. You just take the stuff that are required for you. It comes with two big pockets. One of the pockets has this kind of foam insert where you can put jigs with assist hooks. I mean, I don't advise to put jigs with trebles here, and but with assist hook they sit properly, they don't tangle anywhere and anytime, and it's very easy. You know, you just open up and your jigs are available to use. And then it has pockets for some leaders, for some additional stuff, jig heads and everything. There is a small pocket where you can hide your keys, phones and stuff like that. There is a small pocket for your recently or most used lure, which you can use, you know, as just a small attachment, foam attachment. You can hook whatever you are using the most, like 2-3 of your most used lures or jigs for specific time. So you just attach it here, and it's always available on you, near you. You know, like anytime you need, you just take it out, put it on your rod, and just play with it. And the next pocket where I can keep my snaps, and I can keep my weights, you know, additional weights for the jig heads, detachable weights, my additional hooks. So this is the most thing that I require. Sometimes I require a knife or to cut up something, and it has some additional pockets again. And the most important, I have here my tool for making FJ knots. This is, you know, a knot tightener, and this bag comes with the retriever itself, so you will never lose it. Even if it falls, you will never lose it. And anytime you need to change your leader, you just tie the FJ knot, you tighten it, and it's ready, and you just put it back. Again, there is additional Swiss knife with me, and split ring, you know, and cutter, which is always available and always required. Very useful bag for rock fishing. You go light, you can walk big distances, and you can cover many rocks and find your fish that you require. So this is basically all about gear, and I think it's time to explain how to different type of retrieval methods. So let's go fish and try it out by ourselves. Regarding fishing method itself, as I said, the main important thing is you don't need to cast too far. I'm using a paddle tail here from Fanatic with a 3.5 gram jig head from Decoy. So we're gonna try to search for some fish near the rocks here, and let's cast. So what I did now, I just did cast near the rocks, and I didn't play too far, and I'm trying just, you know, slowly retrieving it above the rocks. I don't let it fall too much, and first retrieve is just looking, you know, for the fish that can bite from the bottom. The rest, you know, like you cast, it's 3.5 gram, there is some current, everything, so you let it sink a little bit, and while sinking you just keep playing with it little bit, you know, like just small twitches to try to attract the fish that is sitting between the rocks and waiting for some prey. There could be no fish, there could be a fish, but you have to keep looking for it. You have to play, you have to, you know, start going, you know, deeper slowly. So first cast is a bit on top, second cast go into the mid water, third cast try to go a bit deeper than that, you know, and eventually you will find the fish on one of the parts of the water. You don't require, when you rock fishing, you don't require to make it all the way to the bottom, because once you're all the way to the bottom, there is a big possibility you're gonna get snagged in the rocks, even on the bite itself, because the fish will bite and try to hide, and it will go into the stone very quickly. First of all, yeah, there was a small bite. Someone was trying to inquire. I think it was a very small grouper or snapper. The main thing is let it sink as slow as possible. You know, you can do small twitches, you can do like wide twitches, you know, especially with paddle tails. You don't need to twitch it a lot, you need, because it has its own play. You just require to do some kind of small movement or retrieval. And keep searching different areas. But of course, you know, very essential for that also is changing the lures. Because if it's not biting on one type of lure for a while, then you will have to change it and try something different, because this might be not interested for a fish. So let's try right now. That's why I keep using the snaps, because it's easier for me to do something. We will try a jig head from Decoy with a small worm type bait from Select. And if you noticed, that soft bait is only on the tip of the hook, because I'm interested, you know, for small twitches near the rocks, and I wanted to play as crazy as possible. So that's why I just put it on the tip. I'm not hiding a hook, because I'm not gonna let it sink a lot. I'm gonna just try to check for active fish around the area. Different area, as you never know where the fish is hiding today. So the sun comes from this side and it's more shadowy on this side, so most probably there is a possibility there is some fish hiding in the rocks here on this side in the shadow. So we need to check that. You know, always keep looking, keep searching for a fish. You cannot stay and wait for a fish, because if there is no fish, there is the less possibility that the fish will come to that place. Only if you are waiting for a specific, you know, fish like kingfish or barracuda, and you see there's some bait fish around, and you're sure that it will come out soon here. Let's try to cast a bit further to the rocks. I will let it sink for a while. Sometimes it bites on a drop itself. Even on the drop, I keep playing with it a little bit with the small twitches. Fish is not active yet. It's a midday. As you know, midday is not always active, but I keep changing the lures. I'm keep trying to find the best, what is gonna attract my fish. Let's try one of the Japanese brands. This is owner hook with a K-Tage Sexy Impact worm, which has very interesting play. So let's try to see if this attracts a fish today. One more thing that I wanted to say regarding rock fishing. It's very important to have some shoes, some sport shoes or some tough shoes when you go for rock fishing, because sometimes you need to go into the water where there is shells, you know, like very sharp shells. You need to go walk between the stones, and it's not advised to wear slippers because the name says it's slippers and you can slip down and, you know, get injured, and the rocks are, you know, they don't forgive that. Sometimes it's very painful, and it might take, especially, you know, if it's some shells, so it might take a couple of weeks to get it, you know, treated. So that's why please wear shoes when you go rock fishing. It's very important and essential part of the rock fishing. You know, you're gonna stay healthy, happy. Yeah, and here we have some grouper bite. You see, change of the lure, worked straight away. There is some nice small grouper, but our point today is not to catch something big, but it's to understand how the rock fishing works. So here is the nice, beautiful small grouper. You see, and changing the lure worked perfectly. Straight away near the rocks with the small twitches. There is one small grouper is sitting. So we're gonna release that guy. It's a very beautiful guy. Very nice one. And don't forget to release this fish. I mean, you want to enjoy fishing all the time. So it's not about just having it for food. So see, we tried, this is the third lure I'm trying right now. And you know, I had a bite on other lure, but it wasn't convinced. Then I changed the lure, and it got more interesting for the fish. So let's try again, you know. I mean, this lure is working for now. So let's see if it's gonna keep working or not. One more thing I wanted to tell you about the jig heads. You know, there is some jig heads are also already coming with this kind of small monoline, which keeps your soft bait on a hook for a longer time. But this is very easy to do by yourself on your own jig heads if they don't have any kind of catch. So it's just you make a knot, couple of knots here, you leave a bit of line at the end, tag of the line, and this one will work perfectly to hold your soft bait. Let's try this area exactly near the rocks. There is some rocks here, and definitely, you know, there is fish hiding. It's hiding, you know, like trying to catch some passing by baits. And always try to play your bait till the end, because sometimes the fish is right under your legs, but you don't see it, you don't know it, but it's sitting there. So don't try to retrieve, you know, like take out your lure quickly. Sometimes just keep playing near yourself, because there might be something sitting under your feet, and you're just missing it because you just keep retrieving quickly, you know, from your spot. So basically, this is small introduction, small talk about fishing, rock fishing itself, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and it will help you to catch more fish, to enjoy fishing itself. Don't forget to catch and release, and if required, you can, if you have questions, you have suggestions or anything, you can comment below, and we are ready to for anything that, like, I mean, it's like if you don't know something and you want to ask us, we are not that much professionals anyway by ourselves, but we are trying to help and grow new community of fishermen. So please comment, please share it with your friends, and let's fish, catch, release the fish, and enjoy this fishing experience. Thank you very much for watching this. Thank you. Thanks a lot.